Welcome to Unfiltered Unwound. I'm your host, Gunny T. Joined today by my co-host, Mr. Eric Shugrue. Make some noise!
My name is Eric Shugrue.
Yeah, that's what I said. Shugrue. Anyway.
14, Gunny. That's 14 years of you knowing my name.
Yeah, Shugrue, you know? Shugrue. What is it again?
Shugrue.
Yeah,
Fuck
there we
you.
go. That's what I said.
Right.
So, welcome to the very first episode of our podcast. Today we're going to be covering a few topics, if we can ever get there. One of the first topics I want to cover is mukbang. Mukbang, hot take on that. You either love it or you hate it, it seems. I fall into the area of people who are kind of half and half. I think it's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen, but I'm also very intrigued by it. What's your take on it?
It's gross. Do not do that near me ever. I will clear a fucking table. I'll smack you in the mouth. Chew with your mouth closed. We were all children. We were all told the same thing. Stop eating so fucking loudly.
So I'm taking you don't watch any of the mukbang videos?
God, no. Like every little advertisement of somebody fucking mukbang, and it makes my stomach turn, and I hate it.
Well, here's where I'm at. For one thing, most of the videos that I've encountered when it comes to mukbang seem to be these adorable, tiny Asian ladies who have an entire table full of food in front of them. For one thing, it's pretty fucking impressive that they can eat that much food by themselves, or even just two of them, because their stomachs have to be tiny. But also, it's kind of disgusting watching them face fuck this entire table full of food and listening to the disgusting sounds that they make.
Yeah, I feel bad for their plumbers. I feel bad for their plumbers though. Like you know that they have to be dropping some serious damage. And yeah, like, I'm sorry, but anything that sounds like squelching, like digging around inside of another living organism, which is what it sounds like that they're doing, is that they're not eating, they are literally rearranging something that has died, their guts. And like, not even the good way that sounds. It doesn't sound good.
What I'm
I hate
hearing
it.
is you may suffer from misophonia. Am I saying that right? Misophonia, misophonia?
Mesothelioma? Mesothelioma.
No, definitely not that. I don't know what the fuck that was. No, misophonia. For one thing, I thought that this was, so shout out to all my people who have this. For years, I thought this was made up so people could be mad at me for the way I ate. Absolutely a real thing. People have certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Not triggers.
You got this.
You know the hamster's tired, man. It's working up there, though. Sensitivities. Certain sensitivities to certain noises, such as, like we just discussed, chewing loudly. That seems to be the main one. My girlfriend has misophonia. And just an example, one day I decided to select myself a delicious snack cake of the Little Debbie variety, and I sat down next to her, and I started to open the snack cake. I had not even began to eat it yet, and I'm crinkling the wrapper, and I'm opening it, and then I look over at her, and God bless her, her face has subtitles. So as soon as I saw her face, I knew what she was thinking, but she then confirmed it by going, "You're doing that on purpose, aren't you?" I was just trying to eat a delicious snack cake. That's all I was doing. So, crinkling, chewing loudly, my breathing seems to be a big one for her. I'll just be existing, and she'll be like, "You're breathing loud." I'll be like, "Well, shit. Let me just figure out a way to stop that." But, some people have it even worse than that. when it comes to chewing, would you say that maybe you relate to those kinds of people? Do you think you have a case of misophonia?
Well, coming from a generation that is typically hit for chewing with our mouths open, yes. Because I have a strong aversion to listening to you smack around some kind of god-awful concoction in and around your mouth. That's just close your mouth. Like, you can chew with your mouth closed. There's nothing wrong with that. But also, like, just eating copious amounts of food and making it seem like it's entertaining? No. Like, yeah, do I want to watch a fucking hot dog eating competition? No, but I would like to be in one. I love hot dogs.
I'm a little bit interested in both. But how do you feel about chewing gum?
People chew it with their mouth closed. Now, like, my niece will fucking on some fucking gum, and I will excuse her from the house.
Well, gum is not even allowed in our house, so I understand that one.
When you live in Russia?
Kind of feels like that sometimes when it comes to North.
This house is a prison.
Oh, planet bullshit.
In the galaxy of the suck camel dick.
She used to not be able to eat beside me, so she found a way that works for her. She turns on her phone and she'll start watching a show or she'll start listening to music. And that works for the most part. But every once in a while, I'll be eating, and man, she can cook so well. And I get so lost in the food that I'm eating that I just go after it. I get in there. And then I'll look over at her and she's staring at me and I'm like, shit, okay. Apparently she can hear me over her regularly scheduled broadcasting there. So I'll kind of either excuse myself from the table or I'll just chew a little bit quieter.
Just eat in the bathroom.
As far as that goes, though, I've been around people with misophonia, but I've never actually lived with one. Most of the people that I've ever been around, they'll be like, you eat loud, but, it was never a big thing. But with her, it's more like my life is in mortal danger every time I go to eat a meal.
So I'm going to look this up. So misophonia may cause a reaction to sounds such as dripping water, chewing, snapping gum, or repetitive noises such as pencil tapping. I don't think that I fall under this category because, yes, it's like a lot of these things are annoying, but it's the chewing that's gross. It's nasty. Like, I can deal with people tapping a pencil. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves. Is that if I'm over here clicking a pen or tapping a fucking pencil, my brain is in motion. And you know what? That tapping is the metronome to keep me on task. And when somebody stops me from doing that, they derail the entire train and it puts me back at fucking 1, and I hate it. And if you have a fucking problem with it, you can excuse yourself. And maybe I fall into that line with mukbang, which is why I don't actively try to end mukbang, but when I see a mukbang, my initial reaction is to turn it off immediately.
You've never been curious about it at all?
Would I like to eat a large amount of food in front of me? Absolutely. Do I want to record it and turn the fucking volume up so everybody can hear every time my tongue slaps around inside my teeth? No. No. My kids will go to sleep listening to people eat ice. What?
God.
I can't.
Your kids are Martians. What? Why would anybody do that?
This is like it's a whole thing, man. Like, this ASMR eating stuff. Like, I have seen too many people tear apart a fucking aloe leaf, and every time it makes my tummy hurt. Because it just sounds so bad. Like, I've never broken a bone or actually torn the flesh from my bones but I assume it sounds the same, and that's what my brain, like, says is happening. And because of that, I don't want it. And apparently it calms some people. Like, what kind of just chaotic brain is listening to this and like, oh, this reminds me of like the ocean. Like, the gentle sounds of waves lapping the sand is equivalent to listening to someone smack around fucking crab legs in their mouth. I don't get it, and maybe it's my fault. Who knows, dude? I don't know, but
is there any
it's not for me.
That you enjoy? Is there any sounds that would say calm you or put you to sleep?
I like rain sounds and storms.
But you don't consider that ASMR, right?
You know, that's a really good question. What exactly is ASMR?
I don't know.
Autonomous sensory meridian response. It's a tingling sensation that usually begins on the scalp and moves down the back of the neck and upper spine, a pleasant form of paresthesia.
I'm glad you didn't let me answer that, because I was about to fucking butcher that and make myself seem like even more of an idiot than I actually am.
I have never had that sensation. I have never felt that sensation listening to disgusting noises. Except unless you consider like Will Ramos of Lorna Shore, his disgusting monster noises that he makes. Those give me tingling sensations. But it's mostly in the arms. It gives me goose pimples.
What about soap cutting? Have you ever heard soap cutting?
I've seen it. I've never heard it. It's always like in the background of like those random like Facebook reels and TikTok videos. And I mean, that looks like, I see something satisfying with it. But could I watch it for 15 minutes? No. Like, I would have to, you cut up that bar of soap, that was super, super dope. But beyond that, like, I really don't care.
You know, I always have questions when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, where are they getting the soap? How do they get it that dry? Who's cutting it deep enough so that when they shave through it with the box cutter that it makes the perfect little squares? My brain goes on all kinds of, it's a rabbit hole kind of situation. And
I want to see the bloopers.
Oh, with mukbang? Well, no, you don't watch mukbang. With like the soap cutting or?
Yeah, because they are completely defying OSHA guidelines for cutting by cutting towards themselves. And at least one of those people has cut off a digit while cutting some soap. And I'm kind of interested in seeing that. Like, just so I can make fun of the person. Like, you idiot.
That's kind of sick, Eric, you know?
Well, I mean, like, we had a situation like that at my old job where a guy was cutting the plastic off of a pallet, and he was always talking about how sharp his knife was and how he was so good at sharpening his fucking knife. And he ran that motherfucker clean across his finger and sliced that dude open and didn't say a word to anybody, just held his hand up in the air and walked around the shop and then left. And me and another guy, we followed this trail of blood splatter with bleach and a mop and just like, and sanitized the whole area before we realized that he had cut his hand open.
I ever tell you my Frisbee story?
I don't think so.
So, I was fresh out of the Army. The first place that we went was to my parents' house because we didn't have anything set up back home. So we were living with them for a little while before we got back on our feet. And my nephew, who at this time is like 10 years old, I think I was 25, 26, and he walks in the room.
So this was back in the 40s.
This was back in the day, yeah, back when dinosaurs were roaming around.
1943 to be exact. When you were.
So, yeah, alright, smart ass. He walks in with his little pocket knife, and he's got a piece of paper, and he's like, Uncle Doug, look at how sharp my knife is. And he sticks it through the paper, and he cuts it. Now, any rational adult at that point would be like, oh, man, that's great, buddy. That's a super sharp knife. Nope, not me. I was like, I got a knife sharper than that. So I pull out my HRT knife, and I grab a Frisbee. And I'm like, watch this. And I stick the knife straight through the Frisbee, and I cut down. And then I felt like a pinch on my finger. So I hold it up, and I cut myself all the way to the bone.
Oh, God.
It was so deep that it hadn't started bleeding yet. And right about that time, my then wife walks in the room, and she sees it, and about that time is when it started pouring blood. She almost passes out. I went, huh. My dad walked in behind her, and he goes, huh. I'll grab the super glue. I call this my stupid scar for that reason.
I was living,
I take the L.
I was living with my sister for a little bit, and she had 3 little kids, and I had made the mistake of leaving my razor on the bathroom counter in like the hall bathroom, and I didn't think anything of it. Like, my sister and her husband were in the living room watching TV. I was in the dining room, on MySpace on the computer. And,
talking about me being old.
And,
call back.
My nephew comes into the living room, and I hear him ask his mom, hey, where's Uncle Eric? I need to ask him a question. And, she's like, well, what is it? What do you need? He was like, well, I really need Uncle Eric because, I really need to ask him something like right now. And so my nephew he's super brave. And he also he was very adamant. Like he was very headstrong. When he wanted to do one thing, he only wanted to do that. Like it was really hard to get him off of what he wanted to do.
Right.
And, she looks down and he's like holding his thumb. And, she was like, why are you holding your thumb? And he was like, well, I need to ask Uncle Eric something. And, she finally gets him to open his hand, and like his hand is covered in blood. He ran his thumb the wrong way across my razor and cut a chunk of his thumb off. And, so me and, my sister's husband, we go and we have my nephew in the bathroom, and we're cleaning up his thumb, and we finally get it to stop bleeding, and we're having a conversation with him, and we're like, hey, so do you understand why you don't do that? And he said yes, and I was like, I'm going to apologize because I should not have left it out. It is very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing with it. And he was like, I understand. And he was really calm about it. And then, my sister's husband pulls his fucking pocket knife out. And he's like, okay, well, now we have to take the thumb off. And my nephew is just he's pure white. Like, all of the blood has drained from his face. And he just has this look of this absolute sadness, right? No tears. Not crying. He's not sniffling. His lips aren't trembling. He's just visibly terrified. And he holds his hand out and he says, okay.
Wow.
And I could not contain myself. I could not contain myself. I stopped and I put my hand on the knife and I was like, dude, it's a joke. It is, your thumb is fine. I felt so terrible for this kid, but he was so ready to lose his thumb. And no fear at all in this kid. And to this day, I think back to that and I'm like, man, I'm not that fearless. Like if somebody told me, all right, we're going to take the thumb, I'd be like,
I'm going
are we sure?
Right? You are going to have to tackle me and hold me down.
Can I keep some of the thumb, or do you have to take all of the thumb? I mean, it stopped bleeding. How am I going to play Xbox?
Why is it always our dads, man? So, right before high school, was the day before summer, and I was outside playing with some of my friends, and one of my friends was chasing me, and I'm running, and I see this hill, and in my mind, because I knew the area around the school pretty well, this was right by the playground area, you could jump from this hill, because we did it all the time, you can jump from this hill to the hill adjacent to it with no problem, and I thought, okay, I'm going to get away from him by jumping from this hill to that hill. And what I didn't see was there was like a dip in the hill right where I was running. My foot hits the dip. I jumped and I fell. And right between the two hills was a sewer grate. And my left knee hit the sewer grate, busted it wide open. I had to be carried to the office, and then a fucking ambulance carried me to the hospital. Well, my dad gets there, and my mom had a bad aversion to blood. She couldn't be around blood. So she came in, you know, she checked on me, and then she was like, I'm going to have to go out in the waiting room. I can't be in here. So she leaves. And my dad
sounds like a crap.
He pulls like the gauze or whatever they had over my knee up, and he looks at it and he winces, and he's like, boy, you sure know how to do it. And I was like, I guess so. The doctor comes in, and he has like this tray, and it's got what looked like shot glasses. Now I later learned that one of them was iodine, and there were, you know, various medical liquids in these glasses. But he rolls it in, and the first thing my dad says is, well, that's the doctor. He's going to have a couple shots, and then he'll begin. And my eyes went as wide as saucers. And then they let him stay in there while they were cleaning it and stitching it up. And every time the doctor, because I couldn't feel anything, they numbed my leg, all I could feel was pressure. But every time the doctor would do something down there, he would wince like it was the most disgusting thing that he had ever seen. I thought I was losing my leg. I'm pretty sure I was pale white the entire time, and that's just the type of person that my dad was. He made what might have been a comforting situation, you know, the doctors are fixing me, this is great, the most awful situation of my life up to that point. And he was laughing the whole time. I feel like that's a dad thing.
Is that like, I feel like that's definitely a dad's of that previous generation that just, they love to play pranks on their kids. Like my dad, I remember I was about, I think I was like 4 or 5 years old, and my dad, he got dressed, and I thought he was going to work. I wasn't sure. I just knew that he was about to walk out the door, and he turned to me and he said, hey, I love you. I'll see you later. And I didn't see him for 10 years.
Christ, I wasn't expecting that. I was so invested in the story. What this asshole do? You know, anything else? It's gone. You know? Plot twist.
There's a bit of an exaggeration. He did come back a couple of times between that you know, being 14 and 15, and, you know, hung out a little bit.
Never brought that milk back though, did he?
No, I still don't know what he was gonna go do, but apparently it was another family.
Fucking boomers, man, you know. They're all like, why don't you work like we did, buy houses, blah, 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 you know, why do you have all these bad coping mechanisms? You gave us, you know, it's your fault.
Have you looked at how much houses cost these days? How can I afford two and to provide for two separate families at the same time? Come on, this isn't the 90s.
Right. Oh, goodness.
I love my dad. My dad is super cool. That story is very exaggerated. As I said, I did go stay with him a few times, but he did. I I don't remember him ever actually telling me that he was leaving. I just remember him being gone. Like, maybe he didn't tell me. I don't know. I remember waking him up to watch Power Rangers, so it was sometime after 94.
I didn't expect the story to go that way. I don't even remember how the fucking story started now.
Maybe it wasn't the start of the story, it was the friends we made along the way.
Well, you know, it makes me feel better. I've now lost both my mom and my dad, so I'm Batman, you know?
Do you know, have you looked?
I mean, have you seen me and Batman in the same room at the same time?
I'm just asking, have you looked for them? Like, I mean, because I mean, like, they're not very young. You let them just wander off?
Excuse me. I didn't lose them. They died. I can't with you, man.
My parents are both alive, and they live on opposite ends of the country.
Oh, me. So, what was the other talking point we had? You blanked my whole mind.
Let's segue into why the fuck do women like Wade Wilson?
That's what it was. That's what it was. You know,
like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I don't know. As soon as that whole thing started popping up on TikTok and Facebook, and, you know, I see this guy, and he's got a skeleton tattooed on his face. He looks like the poster boy for what a fuckboy would look like. Like, it's the uniform of a fuckboy. And he's murdered 2 people. And then you go to the comments, and it's, oh, he's so hot. Oh, you know, what a looker. I wish he'd choke me. You don't. You don't. You know? If he chokes you, he's not going to stop. So, there's that.
Right.
Part of it go ahead. Your turn.
He is he is objectively sexy as fuck. Like, no doubt. I can't argue with that. This is a very good looking man. He fucks his shit up by tattooing all this stupid garbage all over his face. But yeah, at the very core of this motherfucker killed 2 women. He killed 2 women, and then you've got women that are just like, I can fix them.
And that's what it is. That's at its core. That's, well, for one thing, so I did a little bit of research on this, and one of the reasons why women seem to be so infatuated with convicts, for one thing, but just with murderers in general, and me and you discussed this as well, they're not getting out of jail, obviously. It's safe. Right? Would you say that?
Safe?
As in, we can have a pen pal relationship with this person, but he's never going to get out and come hunt them down.
Are we forgetting about that Casey woman in Alabama who, you know, broke her boyfriend out of prison?
Oh, you're talking about the guard, right?
Yes. Do you really think that this man who has captured the heart of so many women won't be able to convince one woman to help him get out?
That's a fair point.
And track all these women down.
That's
this man is the bear in the woods. This is the bear. We know his intentions. His intentions are not good.
But, you know, a lot of people would still choose him. And that's what interests me about it, is the psychology behind it. You know, why? Clearly he's a murderer, you know, and his good looks aren't enough. Look at Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was, you know, a good-looking man. He was very good-looking.
I am not convinced that Ted Bundy killed anyone.
Huh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What makes you?
Yeah.
Let's dive into that for a second. Fuck Wade Wilson. You don't what?
What evidence is brought up in court that convicted Ted Bundy? Do you know?
I don't know.
Bite mark patterns. Because he liked to bite his victim. Do you know what's no longer admissible in court?
Bite mark pattern?
Bite mark pattern. In today's court system, with that being the only evidence they had, he would have never been found guilty.
That's crazy.
And now my wife has brought up the point that, oh, well, he confessed all these other murders. But yeah, like he did right before he was executed so that he could probably stay alive a little bit longer. Be like, hey, I also killed this bitch. But at the end of the day, did he? We don't know.
You know, that's fair. Because I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, especially Crime Junkie from Ashley Flowers. And a lot of the time during the investigation process of a murder or a cold case, you have a bunch of people claiming to do things that they never did, just for notoriety, for attention, for privileges or favors. So, yeah, I mean, his admission might not have been enough without DNA evidence.
And that's what my kind of train of thought on that is that he was admitting to these other murders that he was not involved in so that they would stay his execution, investigate these murders, and then realize, hey, this guy actually killed this woman. Let's look at these other women that we have convicted Ted Bundy for and see if the MO is the same. To see if there's evidence for these other people. My wife is shaking her head no so fucking hard right now. Ted Bundy is innocent. Let my man go.
Eric, you might be part of the problem.
So wrong.
Free my boy Ted.
Well,
let him into the pearly gates.
In contrast, what was the evidence brought against Wade Wilson?
I don't know. I didn't research it. I think talking about Wade. I know even his dad doesn't want anything to do with him. But as we discussed with dads, like I bet his dad was like, I bet they cut the video footage of him being all like after him talking about his son, like kind of like the same situation you were in, where every time they did something to your knee, your dad was like. And he was over there like, yeah, that boy, like, we tried to fix him as a kid, but look at him now. You got yourself in all sorts of trouble, boy.
Well, you know, in a debate with another one of my friends about this earlier on, I did mention childhood because, you know, a lot of the time they look at the childhood of a criminal, especially a murderer, and they use that as well, you know, this is why this person is the way that they are. Which I don't believe in at all. You know, yeah, rough childhood can do a lot of things to a person, but it still comes down to a choice. And, you know, in having this debate, I learned that Wade Wilson didn't have that bad of a childhood, from what I understand.
Yeah, like his parents got divorced, like, you know, 80% of the rest of us in that generation.
Well, I was going to say, that makes it even worse, you know?
Well, I mean, my parents got divorced, but I turned out all right. My sister, on the other hand, not so much. We had the same upbringing, but we definitely went down two completely different paths.
You know, the fact that you being, you know, all right is debatable, but, you know, we'll save that for a later podcast.
Oh, man. So, like, the first person that Wade killed, she was strangled to death as she slept in her bed. And the second woman, she was strangled, beaten, pushed out of a car, and then ran over repeatedly.
The strangling wasn't enough?
I guess not. She was a fighter.
Hats off to that woman, but Lord, Jesus.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've only been run over once.
What the fuck?
I feel like if I got ran over multiple times, I probably wouldn't be doing this right now. But yeah, like I mean, run over one time sucks.
Have you listened to any of the phone calls that he's had in jail from different women, him asking them to put money on his books and stuff like that?
No.
What are they doing? How can you? So I didn't even do the level of research that you just did. I knew that he had killed 2 people. I know that that's horrible and that those people will never get to go home to their families. I know that he belongs in jail. I know that he deserves to stay there for the rest of his life, if not, death row. But to know that and still want to give him money and to help make his life in jail easier, that's what I want to understand. I want to understand the psychology. I want to know what clicks in a person's mind that makes them say, hey, I want to help him. He's not so bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I said, it can't just be looks. It can't just be physical attraction.
I really don't know. I mean, I did work with a woman who, she was in a relationship with a dude that, was in prison that she met while he was in prison. And then, like, she kept putting money on his books. She paid for his lawyer. And then he got out and he stayed with her for about 2 months and then he disappeared. And, he just left her. And I'm like, that's what you're looking for with this type of dude. But it's like, most women want to fix people and help people become better. And I think that's really the underlying thing is that, I mean, we can call it a maternal instinct, whatever it is. I don't really want to, like, I know it's not genetic. It's definitely, instilled into us in our upbringing that, women are the nurturers and men are the providers. But I think that a lot of women that grew up with that mindset look at people like that and they're like, he needs someone to listen. He needs someone that will take care of him. But in all reality, he just wants another throat to strangle. This is that's what he wants. He's just a strangler.
You know whose fault this is? Book Talk. Fuck you, Book Talk.
I do my very best to stay off of TikTok as much as possible. Most of my TikTok For You page is fighting, skateboarding, and death metal breakdown. And I'm cool with that. That's the shit that I want to see on TikTok.
You are targeted on the algorithm. I got you.
I did. I don't like anything on TikTok. So I guess they go by the videos that I'll watch till the end. I don't understand people that watch like a stupid ass TikTok and immediately go into the comments and they're like, let's see what the comments are, because I don't care. I'm worried about, I just want to know what the video is, and video is funny, I'll giggle and then I'll move on, and I'm pretty sure that somebody is watching me on the other end of my camera and they see me giggle and they're like, all right, more of this. My FBI agent is just having a blast.
To be fair, I'm glad you said that, because I want to talk about that for a second after I say this. But oh man, I lost my thought. That was crazy. So anyway, we're gonna go with the thought that is remaining in my mind. FBI agent. So you're my tech guy. You are very techie. You're very smart when it comes to these kinds of things, algorithms, technology.
I would really say that on a scale of 1 to 10, with my technological expertise and knowledge, I am a strong 2. Because I can definitely tell you that there's a lot of things that deal with like coding and technology as a whole that I am either unaware of or do not fucking understand. So I don't want anybody out there thinking that Eric knows some shit about some shit because I don't. I fucking
I don't know shit about dick. Well, look,
I can make your
better than my -10. Okay.
Look, I can build you a sweet ass MySpace profile page.
Oh my god.
And
right,
I can code. I can code a website. Whether or not it's functional is another question entirely. But yeah, like I'm definitely not on the level of I could do this for a job because I could not.
Okay, fair. That was a whole ass segue that didn't need to be in there, but I'm glad you explained that. FBI agents. Okay, everybody jokes about it. You say something, or you look something up on, let's say, Google. You look something up on Google. Or you have a conversation with your friends, and then all of a sudden your social media feeds are filled with ads about that thing or things that are similar to that thing. Case in point, I was talking to my girlfriend the other day about Popeye's chicken. I didn't type this into Google. I just spoke to her about it. And then 4 ads popped up on Facebook for Popeye's chicken. Can you explain that?
So I really think that Google did come out and admit that they do listen to your conversations. They do have access to your microphone, and there is an algorithm that picks up keywords. And those keywords are used to direct marketing towards you specifically. Because as much as everybody thinks that they deserve they reserve their right to privacy, when you buy a company's product and you don't read the term user end agreements and you don't know what all you're agreeing to when you start using that product, there is a lot of things in there that they are allowed to do that you may not agree with. But when you hit yes, I agree when it's setting up your phone, you just agreed to let them sell your marketing profile.
What happens if you don't click that box? Because a lot of things won't let you proceed past that point if you don't click the box.
I mean, if you don't click that end user agreement on the box, you don't use their product. That's how it works.
So it's like a bartering system. To use my product, you have to agree that I can sell your information elsewhere.
Right. I mean, and it's not just Google. Right. Exactly. Like it's not just Google and Apple. Like there's a lot of websites out there that, you know, like you type in, like you go to that website and immediately it's going to send out your IP address to every website it's in connection to. And then you're going to start getting advertisements for, you know, sites that you've never been to. When you Google something, like Google is going to send you advertisements for all of the companies that pay them to send their advertisements. They're going to send those to you. And hopefully you click on them. And hopefully you buy their products. I mean, this isn't the 80s and the 70s anymore. I mean, like marketing isn't what it used to be. Like, they have absolute, right. Like they don't have to do, they don't have to do focus groups. They don't have to do surveys. All they do is they buy this information from other companies, and they're like, and I mean, it's agreed upon. You agree to it. You can be mad about it all you want, but until you, develop your own operating software for cell phones and, don't do it, then you're just at the mercy of letting Google and Apple have access to everything that you want.
I'm not super comfortable thinking about the fact that there might be somebody on the other end of my microphone listening to my conversations. And if there is somebody on the other end of my microphone listening to my conversations, they're probably not super comfortable either.
Right. That's my thing. And I'm not, who I am is not typical, but there's really nothing about me, my life, or my history that I feel like I would be upset with anybody knowing. You know, like I don't have anything to hide. So my idea is if I'm over here talking about Popeye's chicken sandwiches, which are amazing, by the way, and I understand why people were like, you know, rolling up and pulling out guns when they didn't have them.
Okay, we'll fight. We will fight. That sandwich is trash. Number one.
Dude, I don't.
Do you know that all the shit that went down with COVID and all of that shit started when they started messing with the Lord's Chicken? Don't mess with the Lord's Chicken, man. Don't do that. You know? There's in this country one chicken sandwich, and that's all we need. You know?
Dude, you take your pickle chicken and you get the fuck out of here.
Sometimes I get it without the pickle.
No, you don't understand. Dude, they soak their patties in pickle juice. That's how they had their somewhat unique flavor. Is that those patties are soaked in fucking pickle juice.
Well,
and like, fuck
that much better.
And
what do they do at Popeyes? They toast a couple buns and they throw the fucking meat off in the fryer that they put all the rest of the chicken in, and you get it, and there's hardly any meat in it, and you break your teeth trying to crunch through the crust.
Okay, so I will. Their chicken strips are trash. I agree 100%. But there's more meat on a fucking fish fillet than there is on a fucking chicken strip from Popeyes. But that chicken sandwich sent me to the shadow realm. And
the car
only
take you out.
And the only other fast food chicken sandwich that is comparable to Popeyes is KFC's chicken sandwich. They are both.
Okay, before we fight, what chicken sandwich are you speaking of? Because if you're talking about the one that could almost cause a heart attack by thinking about it, when they took the two pieces of chicken and that was the bread, and then they put chicken and cheese in between that. Oh, you're talking
No, I'm
just their chicken sandwich?
Yeah.
Are you fucking high?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's a good chicken sandwich. And arguably, for the sake of argument.
Argumentatively.
So I will point out, it is the classic chicken sandwich from KFC. Just so there's all clarification. But it also depends on what restaurant you go to. Because, like, if you look at the city of Decatur, you got 3 McDonald's in the city of Decatur. Right? And all 3 of them are terrible. But then you hit up this McDonald's in Hartsville, and it's number 1, dude. It's beautiful. And then you drive a little bit farther down the highway to the McDonald's in Falkville that's connected to the Love's truck stop, not traffic stop.
Truck stop, not traffic stop.
Yeah. And you go into that Falkville McDonald's and you realize that there is a higher tier than God. And that is the Falkville McDonald's.
Watch your nose. I can hear your wife in the background.
There is not a single McDonald's on this planet that is better than the McDonald's in Falkville, Alabama.
You realize I've eaten there, right?
Store number 33081.
Shout out McDonald's. Come on the show. Be a sponsor.
Owned by JPI Incorporated. Shout out Steve Johnson. I don't know the store manager, but I'm pretty sure that she's fantastic and is an amazing wife and mother.
Oh man. It's getting deep.
But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, I mean, like, it really depends on what store you go to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you know, most big cities, they have like 2 Denny's.
I'm just saying. You know?
But I mean, like, you know, most big cities have like 2 Denny's, right? And it's like you've got Denny's, and then you got the good Denny's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if you go buy a chicken sandwich from the Popeyes, and you don't go to the good Popeyes, then yeah, you're gonna have a bad time.
When's the last time that you went to a Denny's? Have you eaten the food in Denny's lately? I don't think there's any good Denny's left.
The last time that I ate at Denny's, I was moving to Texas, and we ate at Denny's in, it was somewhere in, where were we? Where did we stop on our way to Texas when we ate at Denny's? Oh, it was a Shoney's in Mississippi. Same thing. Shoney's used to be...
Shoney's
No.
the best breakfast of all.
Yes, when Shoney's had a fucking breakfast buffet, nobody could compete. But they don't do that anymore. Now you just order off a menu like you do at a Denny's. And it was kind of garbage. Like, it definitely hurt my heart.
I wonder what the age cutoff on that is. Like, I wonder how old you have to be to not remember Shoney's breakfast buffet.
Well, so in my experience, I remember being woken up at, the wee hours of the morning between midnight and 3 a.m. with a bunch of my parents' drunk friends wanting to go to Shoney's, and me being like 8 years old, super excited. Like, I get to go eat breakfast with all of these really cool adults, and they're all fucked up. Dude, like, Shoney's was 24 hours.
Okay, that I didn't remember. I do remember eating breakfast there all the time as a kid. Well, not all the time because we grew up poor as shit, but when we did have money, we ate there.
Yeah, we would go and get... I remember specifically one time trying to eat a sausage biscuit that I had dipped in grape jelly. I did not put grape jelly on the biscuit. I was literally scooping it out of a bowl. And I fell asleep mid-bite, and I choked a little bit. And because I was 8, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning. And my parents were like...
Breakfast food almost took you out. Roger that.
Yeah. The one food that seriously almost took me out was... So I love cupcakes, all right? Specifically chocolate cupcakes. But
tell me that a cupcake almost took you out.
But I
despise
food
to die from.
I despise German chocolate cupcakes and German chocolate icing cakes because of that fucking icing they put on there. What is that disgusting petroleum jelly bullshit that they put on it? It ruins the entire fucking baked good. And so, to continue my story, my mother made my stepdad a German chocolate cake, and with the leftover batter, she made cupcakes, right? And I remember telling my mom, I was like, dude, like, could you not put the icing on the cupcakes? Please don't put the icing on the cupcakes. I was like, because I will eat it without the icing. It's just a chocolate cupcake. It's delicious. It's like a muffin. And I remember, like, my mom said something. She was like, all right, but you have to eat them before your stepdad gets home, like, for whatever, because otherwise he's going to see that there's no icing on them, and he's going to be like, oh, why is there no icing on there? Whatever. So, like, I'm fucking hoovering them, dude. Like, I'm throwing these bitches back. I got a mouthful of fucking chocolate cupcakes, and then my sister walks in and makes some stupid-ass sister face, and I laughed so fucking hard that I inhaled all of this cupcake, and I was choking. Like, my face felt like it was going to explode. I was tomato red, and I couldn't breathe. But I also couldn't stop fucking laughing long enough to let anybody know that I was choking to death. So yes, a cupcake almost killed me.
Okay. So, like, your sister almost killed you.
Yeah.
But
it's her fault. I still blame her.
To make you feel a little bit better about your story.
What?
God bless.
So, to be fair, her kids got me back, like, years later. So I had shot my sister in the back with a Roman candle. And,
hot start.
This was out of revenge because I was outside peeing at the tree line and she shot me in the ass with a Roman candle and it got stuck to my boxers. And so I was like, I'm gonna get her back. And so I shot her and the fireworks like actually like stuck to her bra strap. So like it burnt the fuck out of like her shoulder, right? Alright, so fast forward like a week or two later and she's got this like weird zinc cream that she's got to put on it while it's healing. And so I was at her house and I was like, all right, I'll help you out. And so like we're in her kitchen and I'm over here and I'm putting this shit on there and we're just joking, we're giggling, you know, we're brother sister time. And all of a sudden like she slaps the fucking stove, she says my name, and then she hits the fucking floor. And she is laying in her kitchen floor with her eyes wide open and is not reacting to anything that is being said or done to her. So I called the cops. Well, I mean, I called 911. I want a fucking ambulance. I don't need the police. Like, she was still breathing. But she was comatose. Like, unresponsive completely. And, so like, you know, I get the ambulance comes in there. By the time that they get there, like, she's coming back to. She's really confused. She doesn't know where she is. She knows who she is, but she doesn't know what's going on. So the EMTs come in there and they check on her and they're like, okay, well, we're going to take you to the hospital so that they can, you know, make sure you're okay, make sure everything's good. And as they're taking my sister out of the house, my nephew looks up at me, my youngest nephew, by the way, and he looks at me and he says, Uncle Eric, why'd you kill my mom?
Oh my God.
like they were crying the whole time, you know, which I mean, I understand they were little kids and their mom just like, you know, in their minds, she's fucking died. Like we didn't know what the hell was going on. Like me and my mom was there too, and we're all freaking out, like trying to figure out, like trying to get her to wake up. We're yelling, like screaming at her and smacking her face, which is probably not the right thing to do when somebody passes out, to start beating them and screaming at them. Because I'm pretty sure that's a pretty scary thing to wake up to.
I think my girlfriend's going to hear this part of the podcast and be like, no, don't do that.
But yeah, these kids, the entire time she was at the hospital, because I stayed at her house. I was like, I'll take care of the kids. You guys go, you know, get her taken care of. And they're grilling me the whole time we're there. And they're like, is my mom dying? Is she dead? Did you kill my mom? Why would you kill my mom? I can't believe you killed my mom. That's your sister. Why would you kill my mom? And like, all three of them are crying in tears, pleading with me, please don't kill my mom. And I was like, bud, first of all, I didn't do shit. All right. Okay. I did not fucking kill your mother. I was taking care of her and I was applying a medicated cream to the burn that she got because she shot me first.
Oh man, okay.
Good times.
Yeah. I was gonna say, to make you feel better about your story, and then you drop that shit in my lap. But I think I was 9 when this happened, or 8. I was young because my dad was still in the Air Force. We were stationed at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base at the time, and my mom, you know, if she was still alive to this day, would blame me for this, because the premiere of the show MacGyver was coming on that night, the pilot episode, and it was about to start, and I'm sending you a picture, or a couple pictures right now, of the culprit. So I'm eating something called lemon drops. It was like a candy. I think you can still get, obviously you can still get. And
yeah, I'm very familiar with lemon drops.
Yeah. My favorite thing to do with those would be to attempt to swallow them whole.
Oh my God.
Because I was an idiot kid. Well, I got 2 of them in there, and I thought, well, if I could swallow 1 whole, I can swallow 2. I tried to kill myself. They got lodged. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was so young, so, you know, I'm like smacking up my chest. My parents don't know anything is wrong yet until my face starts to turn blue. And then my dad jumps up and goes, "Oh shit, Gail!" And she's like, "What?" He runs over to me. He jerks me off of my feet by my ankles.
Wait a minute.
He starts shaking me upside down, trying to get me to spit the lemon drops out of my mouth. And the whole time, I'm freaking out because, you know, I don't know what the hell's going on. I've never choked on anything before. So that doesn't happen. So he flips me back upside down, and he tries to shove his fingers down my throat to push him down. I bit the absolute shit out of his fingers. I bit him so hard I drew blood. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'm still turning blue. He's freaking out because he can't get his fingers out of my mouth. My mom is screaming. The girls, my 2 older sisters, are screaming, running around the house. They're like, "My brother's gonna die! My brother's gonna die!" At this point, my mom's called the ambulance. My dad then tries to flip me upside down and shake, you know, the shit loose again. I'm still choking. He flips me back upside down, and I swear to God, he came from China and hit me so hard in the back that this shit flew out of my mouth and like bounced off the coffee table and landed on the couch. At the time all of this happened, I'm just now catching my breath. I'm getting my color back. And the ambulance pulls up because, I mean, the station wasn't too far away from where we lived on post. And they're like, "You need to come with us. You know, we need to take him to the hospital just to check him out." The whole way to the hospital, I just remember Mama going, "I'm glad you're okay, son. I'm glad you're okay. I really wanted to watch that episode."
My bad, Mom.
She'd be like, "You know, I've seen every episode except the one," and I'm like, I know, Mom. I'm sorry. I got ruined the fucking episode. The year that she died, I had actually gone on Amazon and was going to buy her the whole series, including the episode that she missed, and I never got to.
Damn.
Yeah.
She's watching that episode in heaven right now.
You know, you kind of hope so, right? Because if not, I fucked up her afterlife too, you know?
Right.
But on that note, I think it's getting pretty close to time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, well, for everybody who's listening to our first ever episode of the podcast, I appreciate you guys listening in. Give us a like, you know, subscribe if you like. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell anybody who's of age enough to listen. We're going to talk about some pretty adult topics on this show. Eric, do you have anything you want to say to the fans?
Read a book.
Okay, that's hot. That's hot. So, divorces cost money, but you know what's free? To not be a piece of shit. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.